General Hospital spoilers tease that Sonny is currently at an important crossroads in his life, as he must find a successor to inherit the empire he has built over the past 3 decades. As a top mafia boss in Port Charles, Sonny has amassed enormous power and wealth, but with his deteriorating health and constant assassination attempts against him, he begins to realize that it's time to step away from the criminal world he's been part of for his entire life. However, this decision is not easy, especially when he faces a major question. Who will replace him and take over the power he has held? Finding a successor is no simple task, because in the criminal world, not everyone has the capability and sharpness to maintain and expand the empire. Meanwhile, Sonny not only has to confront his own weakness but also worry about those who are ambitious enough to seize his position. One of those aiming for the highest position in Sonny's organization is Sidwell, a newcomer to Sonny's group. Sidwell, with his scheming and sometimes ruthless strategies, has begun plotting to take the power that Sonny is preparing to leave behind. He's not afraid to use extreme and insane methods to achieve his goals, willing to eliminate rivals and take over territories by any means necessary. The danger posed by Sidwell not only destabilizes Sonny's organization but also causes the members of the group to start doubting each other. The power struggles brewing within the organization are making things more tense than ever before. Sonny's loyal followers are starting to fear the changes in the organization's management, and they begin to question Sonny's ability to maintain control in the future. Can the empire Sonny built survive when he steps down? Or will Sidwell's emergence lead to the collapse of the entire system Sonny spent years building? In this context, the battle for succession is not just an internal conflict, but also a fight for the survival of Sonny's empire. A wrong decision could push everything into disaster, and Sidwell, with his boundless ambition, might be the catalyst for irreversible change. If Sidwell succeeds in taking power, not only will Sonny, but also his longtime allies, face unpredictable consequences. This could lead to fragmentation, division within the organization, and an all-out power struggle that will destroy everything Sonny has built. Aside from Sidwell, there is also a potential candidate to replace Sonny, his daughter, Christina. Although Christina is currently still somewhat carefree and easily swayed by her emotions, she has the potential to become a strong leader if trained properly. Christina has demonstrated quick thinking and decisiveness in dangerous situations, such as when she cut the brake line of a car, nearly causing Rick and Elizabeth to be in danger. However, becoming a mafia boss requires more than just impulsive actions. Christina needs to be trained, learning criminal strategies and how to manage the empire Sonny has built. She requires serious training, from basic skills like using a gun to understanding how the organization operates. Sonny doesn't want his children involved in the criminal world. But if his health continues to deteriorate or if he loses the ability to lead, Christina might be the only one who can take over. Though Sonny doesn't want this to happen. If the situation becomes critical, she might be the only one willing to continue down the path he has followed. Jason will play a key role in training Christina, teaching her the necessary skills and updating her on the organization's relationships. Brick's calmness will be crucial in guiding Christina, helping her develop leadership skills and make sound decisions. However, not everyone agrees with Christina taking over Sonny's empire. This power struggle is not just about a single heir, but about the survival of the entire organization that Sonny has carefully built. Sidwell, with his ruthless plans, is slowly creating a major disaster for everyone involved in this battle. If things aren't controlled, an all-out war could break out, not only destroying the organization but also leading to the disintegration of everything Sonny has achieved throughout his life. Christina's story is becoming more intense and volatile as she begins to transform from merely Sonny's daughter into a serious contender to inherit the criminal empire her family has built over the years. After recent events, Christina is no longer a girl easily swayed by emotions and weakness. Instead, she is gradually becoming a strong, decisive woman, ready to do whatever it takes to protect her family and maintain her power in the criminal world. However, this transformation is not easy, and it has not been without its shocking and frightening moments. Recently, Christina took an extremely shocking action by stealing Helena's knife, a sharp weapon considered a symbol of power in the underworld, to stab Ava during a tense confrontation. This was not a spontaneous or accidental act, but the result of a well-planned and calculated strategy. Although Ava was not an immediate threat to Christina, she recognized that Ava, with her own schemes, could undermine her power in the future. Christina knows that eliminating potential threats early on is necessary to protect herself and her family from collapse. Christina's actions sent shockwaves not only through the Corinthos family but also throughout Port Charles. Those who once knew her as an innocent, emotional girl will now have to face a completely different Christina, someone capable of taking decisive and ruthless action. This act not only drew criticism but also raised significant doubts among those around her, including her close family members. Is she truly strong and wise enough to lead the criminal empire? Or will she become a ruthless and uncontrollable figure? These questions will haunt not only Christina but also her loved ones throughout her journey. With every bold step Christina takes, the cost becomes more apparent. While she has shown decisiveness and leadership potential, facing the difficult decisions that hurt those around her will never be easy. Christina's transformation in personality and goals is not just a personal adjustment but also a shock to those who once saw her as the innocent girl, completely detached from the criminal world her family has been part of for years. Each of Christina's actions is gradually shaping an unstable and tense future as she moves deeper into the world she once tried to avoid. These adjustments in the story raise a major question about whether Christina has what it takes to lead the family's criminal organization. Can she maintain the leadership Sonny built? Or will she be swept away by her own ruthless schemes and ambitions, losing the values that the Corinthos family has worked for over decades? Her stabbing of Ava could be just the beginning of a series of brutal decisions as Christina becomes further entrenched in the vortex of power and ambition. While Christina has great potential to become a powerful mafia boss, she must learn to control her emotions and reasoning to avoid rash and dangerous actions. Training from Jason and Brick could help her develop leadership skills and decision-making, but will she be able to stay calm in the face of greater challenges? Will she learn how to deal with threats not just from outside forces but also from the changes within herself as she gradually becomes an uncompromising leader of the criminal organization? This story opens up an uncertain future, with Christina at the center of a relentless power struggle. Her reckless and ruthless actions will lead to an unpredictable disaster, not only for the Corinthos family but for all of Port Charles. The biggest question now is not whether Christina can become the mafia boss, but whether she can maintain control over what she's building and guide the empire away from the brink of collapse, or if it will sink into destruction due to her own decisions. The story of Christina and the changes within the Corinthos family is becoming more complex and tense than ever. Throughout the process of building his criminal empire, Sonny has not only faced external enemies but also had to endure internal conflicts within his family. However, Christina's gradual transformation into a strong candidate to inherit Sonny's position in the family crime organization is not an easy process. She is no longer the naive girl in the family. She is becoming a strong, ambitious woman, willing to use ruthless methods to achieve her goals. This is causing significant disruption within the family and the organization, forcing Sonny and Alexis to intervene to protect not only the family but also the future of the empire that Sonny has built. Sonny, though deeply wanting to protect his children from the dangers of the criminal world, finds that as time passes and his health worsens, he has no choice but to prepare for his withdrawal. However, finding a worthy successor is not simple. Christina, Sonny's only daughter, is gradually proving that she has what it takes to inherit the empire. But this does not mean that everyone in the family will easily accept this change. Christina's decisive actions, including the brutal act of stealing Helena's knife and stabbing Ava, have caused everyone in the family and organization to question her leadership abilities. Will Christina be able to maintain control, or will she be swept away by her own ambition, leading to an irreversible collapse? At the same time, the power struggle between Christina and other rivals in the organization is intensifying. One of the greatest threats to Christina and the Corinthos family's empire is Sidwell, a new member of Sonny's group. Sidwell, with his boundless ambition, quickly realizes that Christina may be the one to inherit Sonny's position in the future, and he is not hesitant to find ways to eliminate her in order to seize power. Sidwell is dangerous, willing to do anything to achieve his goals, even using ruthless and insane tactics without hesitation. Sidwell's presence and threat to Christina's position is not only increasing the tension within the family but also making every decision in Sonny's organization extremely important. What is happening within the Corinthos family is not just a fight for leadership, but a fight for survival, where every change could lead to unforeseen consequences. As Sidwell grows stronger and more scheming, Sonny cannot sit idly by and watch his empire be overturned. His decision on how to handle Sidwell will determine the future of the family and the organization. If Sonny does not act quickly, Sidwell may take the top position in the organization, completely altering the structure of the mafia empire that Sonny has built. Eliminating Sidwell becomes Sonny's primary goal, and if he does not act, everything could collapse swiftly. This creates a massive crisis for the Corinthos family, as a newcomer like Sidwell could be the main cause of the downfall of everything Sonny has worked for. Every adjustment in Sonny's organization is leading toward a bigger disaster than ever before. Christina, despite her potential and capabilities, is not without risks and dangers in her decisions. The act of stabbing Ava is a clear sign of her drastic change in how she views power and leadership, but if left unchecked, Christina could become the greatest threat to the family and the organization she intends to inherit. Sidwell's moves only increase the anxiety within the family as Sonny and Alexis must find a way to maintain the empire without letting an outsider like Sidwell seize it. The question now is whether Sonny and Alexis can control the situation, and whether they can ensure that Christina will be strong enough not only to inherit power but also to maintain stability within the family and organization. This story is increasingly becoming an unrelenting power struggle between rivals within the organization, where every wrong decision could lead to the collapse of the Corinthos family empire. Sonny, who has once stood firm as the mafia boss of Port Charles, is now facing an unprecedented gamble in his turbulent career. After years of facing countless enemies, continuous assassination attempts, and near-death experiences, Sonny now faces an entirely different challenge, one that is not just about restoring the family but also an effort to maintain the power he has spent a lifetime building. Sonny's decision to seek out Michael and Morgan, his two sons who have been estranged from him for a long time, is a risky move that no one could predict would lead to such major shocks. Sonny and his family have gone through many trials throughout their reign over the criminal empire, but when he decides to bring Michael and Morgan back into his life, he knows that things will never be the same. Michael, who has always distanced himself from the criminal activities of the organization and has had deep conflicts with Sonny over how the organization was run, now faces a major decision. Will he continue to be part of the empire Sonny has built, or will he choose his own path? Morgan, who has always struggled with balancing family life and his personal life, also finds it difficult to return to what the family has built. The relationship between Sonny and his sons is no longer just a reunion, but a psychological and power struggle. The wild events begin to unfold as the differences between Sonny and his sons become clearer than ever. These conflicts are not just personal issues but also strategic problems within the organization. Although Sonny always wanted to protect his family from the dangers of the underground world, the question of whether Michael and Morgan really want to take on the family's criminal empire is a big one. Michael, with his independent thoughts and actions, may not agree with how Sonny has run the organization over the years, especially after witnessing the serious consequences of life in the criminal world. Morgan, although perhaps willing to join the family business, must face the sacrifices involved in becoming the heir to the empire. This situation creates new pressures within the Corinthos family. Finding the family again and trying to bring Michael and Morgan back is not just a reunion but a power struggle within the family itself. Sonny knows that if he cannot maintain control over the organization, the empire he has built will easily be overthrown. And while Sonny is still uncertain whether Michael and Morgan can continue in his footsteps, another major threat appears in the form of Sidwell. Sidwell, a new member in Sonny's group, begins to show his ambition to take over the family's power. With his own schemes and ruthless actions, Sidwell is becoming a dangerous factor in this power struggle. Sidwell's attempt to push Sonny out of his position, combined with the rising tensions within the Corinthos family, is creating an atmosphere of instability. As Sidwell gets closer to his goal, Sonny cannot sit idly by and watch his empire be seized. This battle will not only be about power but also about the survival of the Corinthos family. Sidwell seems to have no reservations in carrying out his ruthless plans. His joining the group makes everything even more dangerous. If Sidwell succeeds in eliminating Sonny or defeating his sons, the empire of the Corinthos family will fall into the hands of another, and the organization will be completely upended. This is a huge shock for the family and those close to the organization, as they never imagined that the changes within the family would create a greater threat than ever before. Meanwhile, finding Michael and Morgan is not just about restoring family relationships but also a psychological and power struggle. Sonny knows he cannot hold his position forever without a worthy successor. But will Michael and Morgan be strong enough to continue the family's legacy and maintain control over the organization? They will have to face difficult decisions. And if they cannot overcome these challenges, Sonny's empire could collapse quickly. This story is leading the Corinthos family into a massive crisis, where every decision made by Sonny, Michael, Morgan, and Sidwell could result in unforeseeable outcomes. One of the biggest questions now is whether the family can maintain their power while facing internal conflicts and dangers. Every step Sonny takes on this journey is fraught with risk, and any mistake could send the Corinthos family into an irreversible disaster. Sonny has spent his entire life building and maintaining the Corinthos family's criminal empire, and now, as he decides to retire, a deep sense of worry begins to rise within him. He has faced countless hardships and challenges, dealt with ruthless enemies, and taken many risks to protect his family and organization. But as his health deteriorates and the attacks from enemies become more dangerous, Sonny knows that the time has come to prepare for a future where he can no longer control everything. However, the decision to step down is not an easy one, and every change brings with it unforeseen concerns. The biggest worry Sonny has now is who will succeed him and whether that person will have the ability to maintain the empire he has painstakingly built. While he has always hoped that his family could continue to live in peace and power, the reality is that not everyone in his family has the strength or temperament to run this criminal organization in a stable and sustainable way. Finding a suitable successor has become a matter of survival, and this is causing Sonny to undergo a tremendous internal battle. Christina, his daughter, is one of the most promising candidates to inherit the family business. However, the changes in Christina's character and ambitions have made Sonny fearful for the future of the family. Christina is no longer the weak, emotionally driven girl she once was. Instead, she has become a strong, ambitious woman, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her goals. Although she has leadership potential, her extreme actions, such as stealing Helena's knife and stabbing Ava, make Sonny worry that Christina may not be able to maintain the empire he has built. This brutal act, while just a part of Christina's decisions, is a clear sign of her drastic shift in how she views power. This raises a major question about her ability to maintain stability within the organization. Meanwhile, Michael, Sonny's eldest son, has always had a very different perspective on the organization and the family. He is no longer eager for power struggles and tends to distance himself from the schemes of the criminal world. Though he is loyal to his family, Michael cannot ignore the darker aspects of the family business, and he has witnessed the severe consequences that life in the underworld brings. He understands that a career in the organization could turn his life dark and filled with risk. Facing the prospect of inheriting the organization is not an easy matter for Michael, as he is unsure if he can maintain the stability that Sonny has created over the years. Once a person with vision and caution, Michael may not be decisive enough to uphold the empire. And this makes Sonny fear that if Michael takes over, the family empire could collapse. Morgan, Sonny's youngest son, although deeply loyal to the family, lacks the decisiveness and strategic wisdom required to lead the organization. Morgan has always struggled with difficult decisions and has been caught in tough situations where he had to choose between his family and his personal life. Although he may be willing to join the family business, it is uncertain whether Morgan has the leadership capabilities to shoulder such a great responsibility. His lack of experience and problem-solving ability may make Morgan an unstable element within the family, which is something Sonny cannot ignore when considering a successor. The fear of the empire collapsing becomes even more evident when Sidwell, a new member of Sonny's group, begins to show his ambition and schemes. Sidwell is not only an outsider but also a major threat to the stability of the organization. With his ambition and cunning, Sidwell is gradually gaining power and is ready to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals, including overthrowing the current leadership. Sidwell's entry into the family and his disruptive plots have intensified the situation, and Sonny realizes that if he doesn't act quickly, Sidwell could become the deciding factor in the family's downfall. With all these concerns, Sonny is facing an incredibly difficult choice. As he decides to retire, will his successors be capable of maintaining the empire and the family, or will they cause everything to collapse in instability and irreparable conflict? No matter how carefully he prepares, passing on the power to the next generation is never easy. Power struggles are not only taking place between external enemies but also within the family itself. Sonny's anxiety is inevitable, as he understands that choosing the right successor will determine the survival of the Corinthos family. Meanwhile, Sidwell's presence only makes everything more tense, pushing Sonny to take even more decisive action to protect everything he has worked so hard to build.